Apostle called Koyer Adam of an Echativ the Shapachasenu, Lameidim Yishalmi, Noisach Letzim Feel Av lived this is Bnei Bechor, Shim Lepoda Av is Bnei Chayv and lived this Satz, but Shayago. Yishalmi says, because the Apostle says, Bechol Bechor Adam of an Echativ. There's an extra word, it should say Bechol Bechor of an Echativ, but to tell you that Im Lepoda Av Chayv ben lived this Satzman. Omnom, the Bavli Lameidim Zema Apostle in Koyrach, Tifde Vode Sefode. Hanemar bepashas Koyrach. Tzarech lahavim. My benau meiz a posuk afinin shem poda av chayv liv b'satzmai. My time the Bavli nilmad hu ma posuk poda tipte b'sham ha posuk shu pashas. Ina yesh hefresh. Go on the bookcase. There's chelik Yud-Alef on Likkutei Sichos. Ina yesh hefresh b'toichen o b'inyan ben atziva shepidyan ben ha'omor b'pashasenu ben hanemar b'pashas Koyrach. Pashasenu nema b'chor b'chor Adam b'vanech ativda. Kol b'chor bonai evde. Mefurish bo sha'av hu shetzarech liv b'snei b'chor. Shingim b'pashas Koyrach nema stam akpode tifte ez b'chor Adam. Pashasenu b'atziva b'hemshech lo inyan yitzis mitzrayim. Hu atam l'tziva zeh v'yiki hik shafari l'shalachena v'yarek Hashem kol b'chor. V'eret aken nizeveach. Pashas Koyrach nema Pidyan b'pashas matnas kuhuna. Okay. Apizi yesh lefarish tama hefresh ben abavli v'yisham l'gein l'kodesh shel adin. Bim l'poda av sheben chayiv lit b'satz. El sheish l'hagdem pira shabir asim l'mesachim p'sochim in Pidyan aben. This is a sim mesach that the Rebbe did l'kov Yud-Alef this and Tov Shachol Beis. Oh no, never mind. Tzichelek Yud-Alef? Page 42. Sev mesach p'sochim nisa. L'psimlo yikla l'Pidyan aben. It's a funny losh. Ikla Pidyan ben. Ikla. Ikla means he happened to bump in.
Not a regular thing. Like the Mikra? What do you mean? He's from Pidyan?
Yeah, he happened to be there. Ikla means like happened to be there.
Like Ikra.
Yeah.
What's the story of it?
Oh, he said, boy mine. They asked the question from an Epsim law. Pshita al Pidyan ben Ashek Shana b'mitzvah tzivonu al Pidyan ben Avia ben Mevorech. That's pshita to us. However, maybe the Kohen should make the barak. He's getting a noah. He's getting 5 sloim. The COVID mitzvah is doing a mitzvah. He didn't know the answer. Also, the Shalom Midrash, he went to this pedal. They said to him, Avia ben Mevorech Shtayim. This is the same Masechet Pesachim. Tzarech lahavim. They made it as a same Masechet. Tzarech lahavim. Narei b'ayeh. Kohen Mevorech, Avia ben Mevorech, Yirak v'nagei l'bich shechianu. Ma mokem l'akdoma, or the milts of the Pshita. Pshita, al Pidyan ben Avia ben Mevorech. What was this whole long arichas? They told him, Pshita, but why didn't they ask him, Mi Mevorech shechianu? What's Negea what you Pshita? What's Negea? If they walked over to him and they said, we bought a bag of Lay's potato chips with a beautiful hechsher from Eidach Haredis. By the way, we have a question about Shechion and Pidyan. Would the Gemara record that? What's Negea Lay's potato chips? Or Lieber's potato chips? Or Bashkas? You had a shayla about Shechion. What's Negea the whole Agdom? Hine kush zu hikshe betzlach. Metaretz zakavoni hi lahadgishe ba bebecha Shechion ba metzad adiyuk benusach habrocha shal Pidyan ben. Mva ze b'shnei fanim. Zimmer shmevorchen al Pidyan ben velo liftes muchach shef shliftes gam al gedei shliach.
What's the bit plus then?
Al, because if you say there is like push at 7, 8, or 10 shittas in a shinim, when is al Allah? It's like one of the most endless sugyas in Shas. But one of the ways of learning it is al is further away from me. So if it's lomul ben, it's close to me. Al. Every one of the Rishonim always have to contend with 1 or 2 things that doesn't work well with their shita, and it's a yotzam naklal. So, because you say al means it's further away from me. So from the nusach, al means I could do it even through a shliach. It's not like film, which I must put on. It's a mitzvah shebegufui. Because the bracha is al pi zaden, shmamani can do it through a shliach. The Rambam holds That depends if he's the father's poida or the ben. We'll talk about it soon. Anyway, Makibin Shekaim Mesorid Abaya Mi Mevorach B'Cheshachonu Avi Ben Mevorach Avapi She Mipnei Zet Abutel Apamim Barachazu Haina Basoisa Shliach Liftazis Benoi the Kalmak Ma'av Mevorach Meshum the Kovid Mitz Oishet Hamze Bitla Baruch Shenasa the Shliach Machriya Latakin Shakoy Mevorach Shaz Mevorach B'Chol Pidyan Achad the Kamata Anoliyoda B'Chol Pam. It's a little bit fadreit pshat, but it's sharp. That the problem is it's not in the words of the Gemara. It's a sound that way from the Gemara. But okay, that's one teretz in the Noid Yehuda. That if you would say since there's a brach, this is a mitzvah, you say means it's on the shliach. And if he's on the shliach is not going to make shechionos on the mitzvah. So it's going to come to he's at 95% of the time. And then 5%. So maybe it's better if the coin you should make the bracha. That was part of the shaila. Or beis and nusach pidyan ben mechir sheina mitzvahs pidyan nas nikberes ayedei avia ben lechut im b'siyu akaim shemakabel pidyan. Again, it depends. It depends how you learn the al or the li.
Father can do the coin.
Yeah, without the coin. You learn the bottom. He says that's true v'seri vosh. Yeshlom avir v'tzvona liftes madgish yesh kan inyan echad. Lifters. V'tzivonu al pidyan madgish yesh shnei inyanim nefrodim. Echad nitztab al abeis al derech lahazer agdoilam al aktanim. Okay. And he says that's open. Leon nicht film. Okay.
Second bracha. For those who know.
So he says yeah. Again, this is but if you go with the mahala that al means that there's someone else involved, because there's two shoots from the mitzvah, so that's the shaila. Because the two shoots from the mitzvah, shaila is who's going to make the shechiona. Yisoid pirush there. So Shafik Saboy Menei Ein Element Diuk Kalosh Al Ein Misyashiv Kol Kach B'Sidin Hemshach Hainim B'Gemara. It's not so. It doesn't work. These two pshotim. Ba'nigud Pshita Koin Oyavi Mashma the Shiptus the Shitus Ibois and Oisen Shaboya Abaya. It's too fadreit basically. Imikar Adgosha he Loy Bazed opinion. The pshita she'av mevarach al pidyan ela benusach habracha. Im kein aval mesed hoch pshita she'av mevarach al pidyan ben. Look shabnei pshita al pidyan ben avi mevarach. Who am mevarach? Mashma lenofsel adayik ba'bracha mi mevarach. It's very clear from the Lashon Gemara that the issue wasn't pshita about the nusach habracha. Pshita they said al pidyan ben shekshana says v'tzimon al pidyan ben avi ben mevarach. Otherwise, they should have said pshita shenusach habracha al pidyan ben. That's not what they said. Bottom line is havalem bekitza kimin pidyan ben varach al varach shechionu koyin mevarach or avi imkein other klush dukta matam lagdoma shavi ben varach pidyan ben. Demonstrates without the Rebbe's upshlot. The brilliance is that Rebbe found three ways to ask the shaila. They're all three are very funny pshat. The Rebbe is going to say his own pshat. Al derech zeh turn the page. Shlahakshas. Gam b'sefer dinyan. The Mash Amal Epsin Loi. The Bei Medrasha. Avi Ben Mevorach Shtayim. The Gam b'siyum b'gemora. The Hilchas Avi Aven Mevorach Shtayim. The Fim Dinyan also Lashminen. Haloi Hoysa Abaye b'shtei Abrochas Al Ba'achas Shechionu. V'lahav Leloy Merela. Avi Ben Mevorach Shechionu. The Gemara always asks, Minyan Olamali. We have to say about number. I know how to count with my fingers. When they came to the Beis Medrash, they told him, he asked the Mashayla, the father makes Shechionu or the Kohen. They should have said, Avi Yamem Shechan. No, they said, Amruleh, Avi Ben Mevorach Shtayim. They also said, Avi Ben Mevorach Shtayim. Why? No one asked about that. Gamtzar Lo Ma Shaykh Shemitzas Pidyan Ben Brechoso Mesachas Psochim. Pidyan Sherishma Mavur Shem the Aidi Masnis Mishnei Berochas Bo the Mechel the Mais Echad Atol Zalazeh Kigon Pesach Uzebach Shechagiga Bo Ima Pesach Shemach Enoch Nami Hayuv the Davi Ben Varstein. The Rashbam says that why did the Gemara pick up the story? What's it do with Mesach Psochim? Because when you eat the Korban Pesach by night, you eat the Korban Pesach and a Chagiga. So there's two mitzvahs and there's two brachas. Over here also, the father makes two brachas. Omnam zeh Sicha Nagela Gemara. Loitzer Chiyum Bari Verosh. Gamme Megia Loch zu Mesach Pesach. Darke Malahu Shemas from Piske Alochas Mashas. Lois and Mesach Pesach Kedin Zeh. Loilo Avim El Mesachas Bachoris Lachudah. We find in a lot of Masechtas that the Rosh, for example, will bring. It's not always that he just goes daf to daf to daf. The Rif also. Sometimes, they just bring a whole bunch of halachas because they bring the halachas together. Why take it that Rishonim also do it? Elavade shadina na b'Pidyan ben yesh l'shaychus michetz samsachas psach. Avir b'chol zeh. Hamitzvah the Pidyan ben nasa the shloisha mishtakol. Avi ben apoides benoi, ben anivde akoyin makabel d'mei Pidyan. V'hine ishtatvus akoyin b'zeh shemakabel d'mei Pidyan. Ein inyon shalof vutel achiyuv liftas fachor. Also Shulchelek Tanai b'mitzvahs apni. Either is a Chelek of the mitzvah, is a Tanai in the mitzvah. Shein opinion.
Why do we need the baby decorator?
Huh?
Why do we need to put the baby in the tray? And
That's a minig. Okay, that's a minig be'alma. I'm saying, but the foil,
something that the kid.
Right, the kid is part of the mitzvah, and the kohen is also part. Elamai, it's a small. Shein opinion nasa kima dein sin is a kesef kohen. Either he's called a Chelek in the mitzvah, or he's called a Tanai in the mitzvah. Okay. So maybe he's a Messiah to the mitzvah. V'nagela avia ben apoidosh b'shel benoya nifte yesh lama b'shnei avan. Aleph mitzvah apniya pediya ala ben avloish yefshel livdas es atzman bekatnusa beis chalois a mitzvah. Hitila toiras a mitzvah la'av livdas es benoy. V'nichnas b'mkoimoi b'chiyuv zeh. Ode fakert beis mikra din chiv apdiya la'av. Mitzvah Pidyan and mitzvah Za'af. This is the Rebbe's Chakir. The footnote, the Rebbe says that many other mitzvahs you could ask a similar shaila.
Maybe 20 days old.
Right.
So it must be that it's on father. Not maybe it's on the kid.
But b'mitzvah there's Achronim that has the shaila. Talk about Bismillah Taka Achronim has the Shaila. In order 19, the Rebbe is saying, or Chidush, why you could, just because you hold one way, L'Gabimila, it doesn't mean all the Achronim that has L'Gabimila, that's order 19. That's why the Rebbe, but we can look at order 18 for a second, because that's not going to mean a gay to our Shaila. V'rivoshom, Shezeu Tamar Rambam, the Rivosh says, and this tshuva is an important tshuva in the Rivosh on the Sugya. Order 18. Shezeu tam Rambam shekosa hilchas v'choyrim halocha eish apoidas b'nei mevarich al Pidyan aben. V'apoida atz mevarich liftis aben. Why? Kiva sheikar a mitzvah ba'atzmai. Them is the ikar mitzvah according to the Rambam as he should do it. Elisha be'karnusa iyavsha. That's what the Rivosh says. Apiyam avur lakamon b'fnim bar 19 yeshlam shlchen lo hevi Rambam sham reish Perek Yud-Alef b'sefer mitzvahs no shaloi posak anemer b'tzive la'av liftas es b'noi kiim a posak the parshas koydach pod tivde es b'choyd adam shalanemer b'tzive la'av liftas es b'noi. Why? Because he holds that the be'emes, the mitzvah is the son's mitzvah. The Rambam holds that the mitzvah is the son's mitzvah. The Ram because that it's a hand and a glove. That's the Rambam shita. The Rambam shita is that it's the son's mitzvah. That's why the son makes according to Rivosh. If the son's poida, he says liftos, and if the father's poida, he says al Pidyan. Because it's really the son's mitzvah. It's really the son's mitzvah. But it happens to be lamaisa b'poil because we don't. Sure, the Sfardim do it this way. The Sfardim pass like that Rambam, and the Amud disagrees. But the reason why the Amud disagrees is not lav dafka because of the pilpul about. There's, like I said, there's a dozen shittas about when you make al or li. Well, the Shulchan Aruch brings the halacha like the Rambam. That if the son poid himself, he says liftus. And if his father's poidem, he says, Al, Pidyan Haben. And according to the Rivosh, the Pshat and the Rambam is, because the mitzvah is really the son's, not the father's. Velamai, when he's in Pampers, he can't do the mitzvah. But if he grows up, it's his mitzvah.
Let's say by grace, if one son doesn't have a father, somebody died. It's still doing the grace of the 8 days. Not sure that the father.
This is a part all in that orders over here. A murder they can build.
By 4, when let's say the father passed away for 30 years. Now he is a hero to away, but he can't do it.
Right.
Somebody else to do it.
Right. There's a taka machloikis in Brona Shulchan Aruch. Could the Bezdin have the right to be poid to him or not? It's taka machloikis.
By bris, the Bezdin is a chiyuv.
By a bris, there's a special limud. The Bezdin goes, and if the father doesn't want, it's a brechtem the beiner. They break the door, and they do the bris. But that's special by Mila. Gabi Pidyan Haben is taka shayla Shulchan Aruch. It's a machloikis that the Bezdin has the right to do it. Sunday we're looking at the Yam Shel Shloima, who had a whole thing that you should, if the father passed away, they should make a chain for the child, and they should have here like a necklace, and it should have here a tas shel kesef, which should say kohen. And when the kid grows up, he'll remember that he has to paid himself from the kohen. Okay.
The chiyuv bar mitzvah, I guess.
Yeah, by the bar mitzvah. Turn the page. Manafkemina ladina ben shnei. You don't turn the page. Manafkemina ladina ben shnei fanim im loy podi over bekatnusa yad shegod laben. Omim hemutel chiv abdiya. The nafkemina is if he grew up. Now who does the pediya? Im neimekas for the shayna shike mitzaped pidyan yifeves aben. Hare beditten ze shegod laben ukvaroy hu velachenu chayiv liftes asatzmek. Nifke chiyuv umemela gam skusa shel avefniz b'nei b'choyre.
If you want, he can do it.
Even if you want, he can't do it. And if he'll do it, it's not even chal.
It's not right.
It's not right.
The baby.
Avalim neimer shachiyuv mikorahu alav. Harigam lach shekot laben v'loy nivda dayin nishira av b'chiyuv v'schusik. Sheyesh nelimad miyuchadim loy podi ovav. Chayiv liv this azatzim. The Rebbe is saying this chakira would answer the shayla. The nafkamina and this chakira would be the shayla. What happens after the bar mitzvah and the father stands up? He says, I want to be poida my son. So if you're saying that it's the father's mitzvah, if he refuses to do it, the son will do it, but he doesn't refuse. Where were you till now? Whatever. I was sleeping. I didn't know the mitzvah. Whatever. I want to do the mitzvah now. Why are you taking it away from me?
The father, no, if the father did not know.
No. So you want?
He didn't know the father.
In this case, the Tata is lakop. I told him every day is a mitzvah. No, but he wants to do it. Maybe we'll do it in a month and a half. But,
he doesn't understand. Every day is a very important.
What's wrong? The son does. Huh? What's wrong with the son? Well, he says, no, I want to do it. Every day, you have a say. If I didn't say anything, I just told the boy to come here by breakfast and we'll gemacht the pidyon l'tzoshen. And then the father would have been upset. He says, no, I want my father-in-law to come and I want my mother-in-law to come. Listen, I gave it. You call him as the Oiv Mitzvah say. I don't know if I did the right thing. I should have had him here and had a kohen and he'd make the ceremony where just like he didn't make.
The son would make a ceremony.
Yeah.
10 years another shit. That's well, like to make another Torah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. So this the nafkamina here. The nafkamina is I'm thinking to myself, I think I did the right thing.
If the father wants, he can do it.
So that's the nafkamina.
Right.
The nafkamina is if you say it's the father's mitzvah, even after the bar mitzvah, the father wants to, we can do it. But if you say it's the son's mitzvah, no, the son has to do it, not the father. The Rebbe says that that's the machloikis of the Babel and Yerushalmi. The sugas Yerushalmi shegam din zeh shim loy podo obiv chayiv livdes atzmoi nilma du ma'oisei posek v'chol odem v'necha tivda shememene nilma sha'av chayiv livdes azbnoi hainu she'bereishis mekoidesh al mitzvahs pidyan haben bekosuv nichlu beiz chiyuvim shel ha'av haben ke'echad mestabash ha-mitzvah bikir yecheves haben v'shememenu mesuveves gam cheves ha'av ha-meforeshes b'toira. If it's both part of the one mitzvah, in the same pasuk, it says "B'chor Adam b'v'necha tivda." So there's a svara to say that really it's the son's mitzvah. Elamai, he's in Pampers. How is he supposed to do it? So therefore the father said, the Eibusher said, let the father do it. But, Mekiven Shemitzu looked this mekanus, Shaziev Shalaptat, Lachen Amr Torah, Shaviv this benite. Makam Meshenkel, if he saw this Ababli, Shalo, Chazu, Sheben, Chayv lived this at Tatzim, Loy Padi Aviv, Yafin Pasuk Ache. Hanema Keprat Echod, Beparshas Matnas Kuhuna, Veloy Meoy say a Pasuk, Shebe Parshas Pidyan Haben, Sheboy Nemed in Pidyan Alahav, Mizem Muchil Shechiyuv Shalaben, Ein loy mokem v'kesher b'chiyuv d'karo shel ha'ab elo shehu limud noise b'mokem acher b'toyre shegam haben yochel livdos es atzmo yigdol zoyse meres she'etzem ha'mitzvah d'pidyan haben u choyves ha'ab v'loy shel haben v'lo shel acher shegod haben harei loy shenifka deize mashu v'nin ze chiyuv v'schus shel ha'ab mechiteisi elo she'nas haben mechuy b'chol ha'mitzvah when ganze shivim le padov pshit bim ein rav roitzel if this when itilo toyre chilov zalabem, but if the father wants he's roitzel, then the father could still do it. The Rebbe is saying that this would be a machloikes bavli in Yerushalmi. This would be a machloikes bavli in the Yerushalmi.
No, it's okay. One sec. No one pointed myself. It's not. Myself. I don't care.
I think that's the most cases. But all shluchim, guy can't. But there are some cases that the whole family is being niskadim, and the kid is young enough that the father will not be baledict. If you're going to make a ceremony, and the kid will come home and say a whole thing by the table, the supper table, the rabbi gemacht azazach. It's not every day that this punkt story happens. And so I'm looking in Shalzach, I haven't found one place, the Swarm of Pidyan Haben, I haven't found anyone asking this specific Shaila. And I remember there's a Hadran from the Rebbe. And I opened up, so Mamish Gemara Likkutei K'noigen. This is what the Rebbe holds as a Machlokes Bavli Yerushalmi. If you hold like the Yerushalmi, the Pasuk says that Kol B'chor Odem B'Benecha Tivda. It's the son's chiyuv, not the father's. It's the son's chiyuv. Meshenkin like the Bavli. No, in the pasuk v'chol b'chor, it's talking only about the father. It's really the father's chiyuv. Elamai, if the father refuses to do it, so but the mitzvah, the son could do it also. The reason why I'm a little mesupet lamaisa what to do is because even though usually Bavli and Yerushalmi, the halach is like the Bavli. But the Rambam, according to the Rivosh, the Rambam says that the father says al and the son says li, because it's really the son's mitzvah. So the Rambam holds it's the son's mitzvah. How am I going to pass against the Rambam? And even though the Ashkenazim don't follow, the Ramah disagrees with the Rambam and the Nusach, and he says always we say al. Dafke is arguing because of the. Like I said, there's a dozen shittas in the Rishonim al and lich. You're never going to finish over there. Maybe there's a different reason why the Rama argues on the Ashkenazim argue on the Sfardim on this. It's a garnish the tongue. Liidich in the Marshal, the Yam Shel Shloime is a gven agroisa poisek, and also Ashkenazim follow the Yam Shel Shloime very much. In his piece, where he talks about all the Sfarim today that do a Pidyan Haben for an adult, go to this Marshal, he brings the Bavli. The Marshal brings the Bavli. And we follow the Marshal b'derech klal. It's nishtab. Okay, if the Ramon and the Marshal are arguing, not always going to follow the Marshal. But when no one's arguing, the Marshal says that the Posse, he brings the Posik from the Afaket, and his Nusach, he says, he only by a Yosef. The Nusach he's bringing is by Yosef. He says by Vainoisai. He says his father passed away. Okay, for Yosef, obviously the kid is going to do it. The father is Nishtan Olam Hazeh. But what would the Marshal say if he was not a Yosef? So he brings up the Yerushalmi, the way that the Bavli, the way that Rebbe is learning. According to the Bavli, we have two psukim. That it's really the midst of the father, and Kilu, the Torah gave an afterthought. Chas v'shalom, an afterthought. There's no such thing in Torah, afterthought. Torah said in Parshas Boy, the Torah said you have to be poida your son. 6 months later, you learn in the Torah Parshas Koirach the son could also do it if the father refuses to do it. But according to the Bavli, it's the father's mitzvah. And the Yam Shel Shloimeh quotes the Bavli. So if you learn the way that Rebbe is learning, halacha kebavli, v'halacha kemarshal, for Ashkenazim, at least. Sfardim, I can't say for sure. Even for Sfardim, it's only a pshat that the Rivosh gave the Rambam. The Rambam didn't say the Feish, no? So it's a pshat. But okay, but for Sfardim, I would say it's a daf tracht. But for Ashkenazim, since it's a Bavli, Yisham Eloch kebavli, and the Marshal brings the Bavli, and the Bavli holds that it's the father's mitzvah. So why shouldn't the father do it? Yeah.
Because it's different. If there's someone.
Anyone can do it, right. But the way that Rebbe is learning it, the pshat is...
Anybody can do it. It's not.
No, not with him. Any man means him.
Oh.
Not only the father has the ikar mitzvah. Tipoda, not only the father...
Big Yosem, they have to make the permits, right?
Yeah. I mean, even the machlokes really.
Oh, yeah.
Some hold that the Bezdin has it. We could say because Aviyim Shal Yisoim... Right. I'm not sure if you could take that machlokes and put it into... I was thinking a little, maybe...
So whatever he's playing there, it's not his bad. It's not really easy.
Yes, anyway, he doesn't have coins. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's not chayv. Mitzvah is not shaykh. That's true. Yeah, remember we learned that on Marty the Kedem. Look how it is 26. He says, "Walks by Mila." He says this. Veshlama Shader when again Mila. Shita say Yishalmi mitzvah sedaben. Kama shaav chayv lama l'gnoi noma b'Yishalmi. We have a shmini yilmid b'sar alos shlisku etziv shaav yimel is benoi. Because it's really the son's mitzvah. Hela shemu mishmi if shel elokot lamed asatzma. Mashenken la bavli kedushin shenilmud ma'kosav hayom al avram etzitzin benoi yeshloim shem mitzvah sedaav. The Rebbe says that also legabe Mila. Zamachlok is bavli sham. What's the posuk? And it's the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, by himself, he did it himself.
And he says, "Apiz yeshlomish v'zen af kiminu kshigla benim yeshna dayin achiv shalav." Epirish misham la Rambam shigla yel v'gil zman achiv nifter kol adam milosek. Taka the Rambam holds that if he grows up, his father's potter from the mitzvah. But the Rebbe says, according to the Bavli's mashma, the father is still chayiv in the mitzvah, if the son will allow it, of course.
So in Russia, how many kids? Father did not have a police and the
Kids, child. Okay, let's continue. Apiz.
Father made a bridge to the boy else. The boy came back home. Father said, "That's not fair. You have an idol there." On the father said, "I want to have a bridge also." So he had a bridge. The father and stuff.
Wow.
And the son came to America, got married, had a baby, and that lady made a bridge. So he had a picture. Grandchild, father,
Who did the bris?
lady.
Levi.
I said, "You're too young to make it 3 generations." No.
Wow. Unbelievable. Could you please turn off the sound? Herschel, could you please turn off the sound? We hear you.
Oh, I thought you were done. Oh, I'm thinking. Oh, you're not done.
We're not done yet.
No, 'cause you're-
Turn off the sound, please.
yeah.
Join. Apizet es Yashem gam atmi anal b'misum mesachel psachim. Tam shakdam pshita shekshon mesachel psachim Pidyan ben aviyah ben mevorach kedav kel achar akdam azu muvenes abaye mi mevorach b'chir shechiyonu. Hadiu kukim in the pshita blikot nine shal Pidyan ben av mevorach haina leolam gam lachar shegot laben benusach shavay meshkshon mesachel v'tzivonu kolon ben imena av mevorach barach azu ela ben nine nishatoyre shemitzich v'saben shatoyre chnitzah b'chiv zek sheyev shlaben. עוד לא היה מבוים, מבורך שחיונו בפדיין בכנוסה של הבן, כפשיטה שקיים מבורך שהברכה שלו תהיה, על הנועד ומות ליוד, דין ספר לא משבי, הבן יבורכו, מאחר שאין זו מצווה מקור דין, אלא שהוא דין, שהוא רק עושה מצווה בנוי, ועל דרך עושה מצווה לאחרים, אין מבורך שחיונו. The din is if you make a mitzvah for someone else, you don't make שחיונו. אבל מכיוון דפשיטה, שביחס אשר קידושנו ומצוויסו וציוונו על פדיין הבן אבי הבן מבורך ליועלום שמזה מובן דפדיין הבן מצווסו של האבי Okay, mi bain lo mi mevorach shechionu ha'avo yaben. Ha'avo yakoin. Ma'achid shneim shavim balachoyr. Have yivorach the kovid mitzvah shois zik kachborach mitzvah zo abam zman zman. Oh, shakoin yivorach giving the mother no liyode v'chol sim slave of bal adam chayv levorach ala.
And if the boy do it himself, he
Brilliant pshat.
and if the boy do it himself,
Do you know on this is a sefer chulta meshulish from 3 the chulta meshulish is it's, I think 3 goynei olam of a grandfather, a son, and a grandson. Every the Yehuda, everyone had a pshat. It's a simas psochim. The Rebbe's pshat, unbelievable pshat, unbelievable pshat. Because now the arichas in the Gemara make sense. They said to him, they were not dumb when they asked the Shaila. That's what the Gemara records. They didn't say, "Oh, we're eating Lay's potato chips." By the way, we have a Shaila about Shechionim. We're eating Pashkas potato chips. It's a mizak alomdus. If it's pshita, is that we know that the father makes the bracha shek the shon of a mitzvah of itzivonu. It's the father's mitzvah, and Slo'olam is if it would not be the father's mitzvah, we understand. He's only like a shliach for his son. Why should he make shechiona? The kohen should make.
that was the first question.
Yeah.
Why what's that number?
Now we understand the Akdama. Because we know pshit that it's the father's mitzvah, not the son's mitzvah. That's the shittas habavli. Oibazoi is 50-50 between the kohen and the father. It's 50-50 between the kohen and the father. The Rebbe in the footnote, in the bracket, says like the Vimtoga. Why can't they both say shechionu? Avi ben el anasina. It's tzachus mitzvah bakoyin. Ala kabbalah mishum demota no liyode. Yesh loimer no. Ach shenatin and vorch shechen al kol no abala loodem. Ala rak banos davar choshev and yuch shtem vorch rak in kona bayis chodesh veget chodesh. Lachem benin dan and eina ala koyin lavorach shechionu mitzad and also bekabbalah seis loim belvad. Al mishum shano zu bo loim mitzvahs pidyan ben. Al mitzvah shenasa deyacher. With the ach shevelano. Ima av yivorach shechionu. Hayne shemavorach al atzma mitzvah ein mokum lakoim lavorach shechionu bekesher matofel sheba. The ach shevelano. In kain ein abrocha ela lano lavade. Even if you don't understand the whole lumdus in the Rebbe, it's brilliant. But the Rebbe is asking in Posh Shaila, wow, why is the Gemara so busy? Abrachmanas, zwei Yidden don't sagen shechionu. Sonst they beide sagen shechionu. Father's happy as a mitzvah, and the kohen is happy as a noah. Why are you asking a shaila? Just let them both say shechionu and go home happy. The answer is that 5 slime is not a lot of money. You can't buy a car with 5 slime. You can't even buy a suit with 5 slime. So in regular things, if you had 5 slime and you went to the store and bought something, you wouldn't walk out and say shechionu with it. Elamai. There's Indian of Isuri Achshavet or Mitzvah Achshavet. This nitfa stam. It's like a Rebbe doll. How much is a Rebbe dollar worth? Is it worth $1 or? I don't know. Ask President Trump.
I got
It's
it
just-
from somebody and I said, "Sir, it's a dump. Don't okay. You stupid one."
Wow. So what's $1 for the Rebbe worth? The same thing here. The coin, it's a Rebbe dollar for him. It's not stam fin of sloyim. He got these fin of sloyim being a chelik from the mitzvah. So, but a yois, it's the chashivas of it is mitzvah the mitzvah. So that's why the shail is who should say the shechionu mitzvah the mitzvah, the kohen or the av. Api ezber anal yuven gam kin diu kaloshin lach shel b'medrosh amulei avia ben vorstein. V'leidaim lifshet esabay lavada avia ben vorsh shechionu. Lahadgish the tam echad u'b'shneim sheiker mitzvah pidyan aben dileyu. Lo sheba b'mokem aben v'lechem vorach al pidyan aben gam kshish mokem l'chiyu v'alaben. That's what the answer. And the Beis Medrash, they said that the answer is that Avia ben Mevorach Shtayim. The Hilchas Avia ben Mevorach Shtayim. They emphasize that the tam,
You know how to count, but
the tam for the halacha is because the father Taka makes the first bracha because it's his mitzvah forever. Therefore, shechionu is more negated to him. Iker mitzvah shechionu dilehu. Lachem Mevorach Avda Mota no liad koyin bedug meschiv aben. Imoy neimer. Avia ben Mevorach shechionu. Lo have you didn't time of the miltz. The after lemon zel mishum shein die by nose with the motali yode the coin lo baruch l'shchana. If they would have said Aviyah ben baruch shechana, maybe we would say that the reason is because the anoah that's coming liat coin is not choshev enough. Kashem shem mevarchim anakim kona bayis chodesh. Well, that Hashem kol mevarch al kol matnis kouna k'yotze b'zeh. And there's enough gemina. There could be sometimes maybe taka if the father can't make shechionu, then maybe taka the coin should make shechionu. So it could be. He says order 37 nafkamina. Look at the some soifa, complicated tshuva. There could be a suffix if the father makes shechionu. Well, if the father can't make shechionu, shliach. So let the coin make shechionu. Okay, summarize. The Rebbe says lanius that lanius daita that there's a machlokes Bavli Yerushalmi whose mitzvah is the father's or the son, and the Bavli holds that it's the father's mitzvah. That's why from the pasuk in Parshas Boy we say only the father. 6 months later, Parshas Kodesh say, oh, by the way, the son could also do it if the father refuses to do it, but it's always going to be the father's mitzvah. That's why they said Shita. Ashek the Shana mitzvah so v'tzivonu al Pidyan ben Aviyah ben mevarech. If it was not so pshita, they wouldn't have asked. They would understand that. But now that it's the father's mitzvah oilam void, so l'gabi shechion it's a toss up. It's 50-50 between the kohen and the father. And he asked the Beis Medrash. They said the packet they were right. And Aviyah ben mevarech shtayim. If it's Aviyah ben mevarech shtayim, not shechion, because if said shechion, I wouldn't know what's the reason for it. Maybe it's Aviyah ben mevarech shona because 5 saloim is not a noch shuvah, and therefore the kohen can never make the bracha. No. So if the father wouldn't make it, the kohen would make it. If the reason why the father's making it is because it's more the father's mitzvah than the kohen's mitzvah. The kohen is only a messiah. The kohen is only a messiah in the mitzvah.
In other words,
If it was really the son's mitzvah,
past the time, the coin doesn't have a veil, but not quite
right?
the kid.
Right. If you would say it's the kid's mitzvah, so I'd say the father's also only a messiah. The father is because the kid's in Pampers, he's messiah. So between two messiahim, it would have been difficult to figure out who is the shechionu. But now that I'm saying it's the father's mitzvah, so the father has really the mitzvah. The kohen is managed by messiah. So therefore, the shechionu should belong to the father.
But the father is closer to the boy, so he had more the mitzvah than the kohen. He's the closer, it's the father.
If it was really the son's mitzvah, we could argue that it's not so pashut, that it's more the father than the kohen. Each one is it's not really the ikar of the mitzvah.
I wasn't sounded by that race, but the boy itself made it up. Yeah. Holding his head.
And then halfway made the brach. Apizi yesh leparish shaychet shling in the Pidyan Abelim Sichos
A Russian man. One year old. Papa. And then I showed you just to know
Alamila.
Yeah.
Why not? The father's nothing.
He made a brace. He was 20 years old. They said make a brace.
Did Moyle make? 1 second.
The best itself made it. I made it to the buffer.
Wasn't it my only problem?
By a baby, a regular baby, the baby cannot say the buffer.
The baby.
Right.
The father says,
20 years old, he made it up.
Plus, we said this is all the
Doesn't make the bracha, but to give the authority to the moed to them.
Exactly.
Oh, maybe he means the other. Aviyah ben mevarech ben mila lepriya lachnisa bebrisa. Maybe he made the bracha lachnisa bebrisa because the Moyle makes the bracha sheket the shama. Maybe he made. I don't know. So.
Now, I have a question.
1 second, I just want to say another piece, just to be Messiah the word. Apizi yesh lefarish shaychet shlonim the Pidyan Abelim Sichos psach shem shemitz vos ikra shel Pidyan ben nemre betoyre shebeksav behemshech l'tayim shel luvis yivos shel tzivik shel bar veitzel kol kol rechem uruf kol avim neisol b'znoi aderach zeh hu aseder betoyre shel apem Sichos psach sheikra betoychen shel apesach shel posach. It's not called Sichos matzos, Sichos psachim. Asher Pesach al what bnei Yisrael b'Mitzrayim v'nakos the makas b'chodesh vezbotenu hitzil harei hu atam l'mitzvos Pidyan ben l'chen harei mesuv v'rasim Sichos psachim.
What a
Chap. That this is taka the sim Sichos psachim, just like the reason why the Eibishter made the mitzvah of Pidyan Ben is because the Eibishter jumped over the Pasach ala Pesach, and he killed the Bechorim Mitzrayim, and he made it the Bechorim Yisrael should live. So, as a Mesuviv of Masechet Pesachim, the Siyam Masechet Pesachim is the mitzvah of Bechoris. The Shaykh Siyam Zel Masechet Pesachim, when it was Gamatam, what Haben Borash Achiyona, Kimin Shatzol Bnei Bechorim Bnei Yisrael, Hoysa de Pasach Hashem, V'lachre Zeh Yitzir Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Atzma, Poda B'noi, Bechorim Mitzrayim. Mizeh moving, Shgam Mesuviv, mitzvahs, Pidyan Ben, a mitzvah alav, if this been the way. Just like by the Eibishter, the Iker Indian was the Eibishter. The Eibishter gemacht. Anim v'lo malach, v'lo tzore, v'lo shliach, the Eibishter gemacht. The same thing. So, it's unbelievable. Apikol now yeshlevad. Okay, you know what? Let's stop at this because it's a whole lot, but it's unbelievable.
When they make an opinion of Ben, the Kohen asks the father or the mother, this is your first child. If the son making for himself is older, we're using all this question.
No. Yeah, we had
A
the
special thing to say?
He said, yeah. What he said.
There's a video in Gaza when the war started. One of the soldiers had a baby boy where he couldn't leave the base. So he's in Gaza, all his lieutenant, whatever. So they did a video of the house with the mother and the baby. And it's making the offer, it's given another soldier, this is a Kohen, a Chayab, the first slave, and Kohen is dead.
Wow.
Was that? I remember this, he was crying from
Wow.
Another one, they made a priest when the father is in Gaza, for the continuing this. So I'm a thing, singing a thing. You see a video, you can't leave. But I'm saying, you can see from here that his father, he's the one who made the law.
Unbelievable. Okay, David should help him. He should be played the old Klal Yisrael is the controllers. So we need David to be played there.
We're all going to make shekhan about ourselves.
Today, my grandson, Yudi's son, he got to go to San Fanny. Today, they put him to. Know what San Fanny?
You said, you should be protected. You should be done.
Hey,
Man.
L'chaim.
it's a big deal. Not everybody could do
Safe.
it.
Everybody. Thank you.
Be on mute.
Beautiful share. Everyone's
Okay.
the same thing. Okay. And then now.
Pinchas Eliyahu. We spoke also about the Mila. So l'chaim, Pinchas Eliyahu.
Oh, that's him? Oh, wow.
Pinchas, are you a Kohen?
No, Yisrael.
Are you Yisrael?
Yeah.
And a Kohen and the Neshama of Yisrael.
Oh, Pinchas is-
Okay.
Sorry.
Guys,
Here. Well,
I love so.
that's my dad's.
he said, you want to go to all the Britons.
Yeah.
So I heard the from the radio, he said that Pinchas
From the hospital,
was fighting with Shevet Ephraim. They don't want to make it beautiful. He was fighting with them and he wants to kill him. And he hide himself.
It was so exciting.
So this is why Hashem said, you fight for me to make a great talk.
Tuesday.
Okay, very
I
nice.
never heard this before.
That day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hatzlacha. Good night. Shkach for joining.
Hello.